I'm Jeff Gordon, and you're watching Racing America.
All right, everybody, welcome in to another episode of everybody's favorite real race talk show. This is the Revved Up Sports Show, back again on a Tuesday evening, based in Texas, but all over the world wide web and all points in between. Showtime Bobby Check right here. Iceman Rodney Rodriguez, that is the man there on your left with the clean-shaven face and the Def Leppard hat. Did that coincide? Did you see too many gray hairs when you put on the Def Leppard hat this morning? Is that what happened?
No, you know, this really was, I posted, I guess yesterday that it was a matter of me trying to trim all that facial stuff up on Sunday night or Saturday night, I guess it was, because the wife had gone to Def Leppard in Oklahoma. Her and one of her best friends, they went on a concert trip, and I got the hardware back, but I was trimming up the beard. And, you know, when I'm all alone, Bobby, what do? I sit around, I watch sports, I watch racing, and I was trimming it up, maybe under the influence a little bit, maybe one or too many of these. And I messed it up, dude. I messed it up. And so it's like, okay, man, got to wipe the slate clean. Hell, people are telling me I look 10 years younger, so I'm keeping that shit off. Leave it off for a little bit, man.
I don't know. I get too baby faced when I shave mine off. I'm not even remotely going that far. So, not on my bingo card.
I just, for me, I'm just so used to having the little goatee stash thing going because I've done it for so long. And to me, it's, I don't know. This is weird. I mean, this is really weird. I actually shaved again last night, and that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it start growing back in a little bit. And then I started going, and I'm like, let me go ahead and whack it off. Whack the beard off, that is. And the other whacking off stuff, no comment about that. But it's like, look, let's try it. Let's try it for a little bit. Even our friend Marianne Nauman, the great Marianne Nauman from Cotton Bowl Speedway, said, I really like that. I'm like, oh, maybe it's time to leave it off.
I don't know. H is clean shaven every day, minus the Hulk mustache. So a little Fu Manchu thing happening there. So
he's got it going on, man. So I'll tell you it. So that's really how that happened. And I had a couple of people ask, is that really what happened? Because, you know, I mean, I never shave that thing off. I keep it all the time. So yeah, that's really what happened. It's another drunken incident. Just like every time when I go to get a haircut and they're like, do you want your neckline straight or rounded? I'm like, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to get back there and start shaving it myself under the influence, and it's going to get all jacked up anyway, so I don't care.
I just tell them I never see it, so I don't care what it looks like, as long as it ain't got no Vanilla Ice stock market imprints in it, like back in the early 90s.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, exactly. But
I would say for the millennials that don't know who Vanilla Ice is, but I don't think any of those young people listen to this show, so.
You might be surprised, man.
Vanilla Ice, I mean, he was the Ice Baby guy, for those that don't remember.
Back in 1990, man.
That was his only hit, I think.
No,
he's on like a home improvement show now or something, or he had one.
Is that what he's doing?
A home improvement reality show.
The great Robbie Van Winkle out of DFW, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, these guys. It's funny that you bring him up, because this morning we were on the sports show. We were talking about MC Hammer. He came up with some Oakland A's discussion. So it's like, man, it's those years fly by really fast, don't they? I think maybe that's why I'm liking the no beard thing, because it's like, I feel young again. I feel like it's 1990.
Well, maybe. I mean, the problem, speaking of Oakland A's, I get to see that spot of land there coming up next week. So it'll be on the opposite side of the city for me, but I'll be making my way down that general vicinity at some point next week. So I'll be able to send you pictures of what the future home of the Oakland Athletics look like. Well, won't be much of anything there now, just some construction equipment and some flat land. But
don't do that. I'm not digging that move whatsoever. I mean, to me, I'm not an Oakland A's fan. I mean, I do like the Oakland A's colors and the A and all of that. I do like that a lot. But it's like, to me, the Oakland A's belong in Oakland. If they're going to move, I hope that they like wipe everything off of the map when it comes to the logo, to everything. Just start over. Let them be the Las Vegas Aces or something else. Not the Athletics. To me, that's one of those things to where, I don't know. It's so weird now, and we see it in racing all the time too. Like when racetracks just disappear, and It's a weird time, man. But I don't know why that one tugs at me so much. I don't know what it is. I think it's I just like the colors. I think that's what it is about Oakland for me. That green. I like that green a lot.
Stuff when they moved to Allegiant across the interstate there from the strip. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It'll be interesting. Everybody, for once, everybody realizes Vegas is more than like it's an actual sports town, and it's a way to get visitors in there. I mean, there's always visiting fans at the Golden Knights games. Just
Yeah.
the fact that it's a great place. It's an easy place to get to, and there's lots of places to stay. So I mean, that's why those places are sold out. So
Yeah.
I'll be having fun in Sin City next week. So I will be on the show. There's no guarantee, A, how sober I'll be, and B, how long I'll be on.
I'm really hoping that, because I know last year we did a deal where we went to Circa for a few days for football preview stuff, and they put us up and did a bunch of stuff up with Texas Sports Unfiltered, and I'm thinking that may be in the mix again. I don't know. It's a little harder now. I mean, at the time last year, that's all I had to do, so it was pretty damn easy to do that. So I'm hoping that all works out, that I get to go do the stadium swim and all of that again, and just seriously, it was 4 days of just sports. That's all we did. I mean, we sat around and talked sports, and that's where I bet on SMU, and that's where I bet on the Redskins or Commanders, and that's where that's that clear thinking, man. And those two almost paid off for me a little bit. But anyway, yeah,
I'll put some money down on the Chicago street race because I'll be there right before that. So
SGV. I mean, of course, that's going to be the clear-cut favorite.
Oh, he'll be low odds to win, but it could be some easy money.
Yeah. Our show is always presented by the great folks at Audiovisual Consultations, your home speedway system. Tom McKay here in Round Rock can set that up for you. And of course, On Demand Shirts, the official apparel provider of the Revved Up Sports Show, of Bobby, of me, of lots of race teams around the state of Texas and these parts. So be sure and check those great folks out. And they do lots of really great work when it comes to racetracks in our area. And they're continuing to expand. Speaking of on-demand shirts, I don't know. This one kind of caught me by surprise that I saw right before we fired the show up. But, you've got the Modifieds of Mayhem that are doing the double coming up this weekend at Five Flags. Of course, Tim was on right before us there with In the Groove. And this is like fresh off the press that I saw. They've got the Pensacola and then the Mobile. I saw for added to that. Here's a sneaky one. The great Joe Armandia doing the double in the modified.
Oh,
Joe been getting a little racy there in Houston. I think he's won in Houston. It did, the car count's been, a little lower, but that's when, when Joe starts doing that stuff. I mean, Joe Armandia, he's in the Busch Series. He's a multiple time track champion in Houston and San Antonio and Kyle. When Joe starts going on the road in that pavement modified, that means Joe's getting that bug.
Getting that bug back, yeah. Bug. And he'll have probably a fresh batch of on-demand shirts too. He's one of the official on-demand shirts drivers, so he'll probably have a good stuff. I mean, then you got the legacy cars going too. That's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, also.
Yeah, and actually looking at that right now, I think Joe, the last car to have entered that is entry number 20. So that's, for the Modified of Mayhem. And of course, everything hinges on what happens on Friday night, because that'll be the first part of that. And it's so funny now that we understand it a little bit more. You remember back in the old days when it was like, oh, they had a double, in Pensacola and then in Mobile. Back when you never traveled those circles, it's like, oh my God, that's a lot of mileage. It's a lot of mileage to get to either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I'm really glad that those tracks are collaborating like that, because when you start getting those together, that's only going to produce really good racing. And I think for the Modifieds of Mayhem, especially at Mobile, I mean, no offense to Five Flags, especially at Mobile, man, you get 20 of those son of a guns out there. Holy smoke, they're going to be hauling the mail.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good show there at Mobile, as long as they survive some of the carnage that Five Flags is going to throw at them.
Yeah,
on Friday night. But it's a racy joint, man. It'll come up and bite you too. That wall, like we said, that wall does not move at all, and you get a little racy down there in turn one, you're going to bang some wheels and bend some bumpers.
Yeah, and what you're going to get with both of those racetracks is they're going to be chewing up tires. So that'll definitely be something to be checking out. Enough about modifieds. Let's talk about what we love. Street stocks, super stocks. I sat in the street stock yesterday, my dad's old street stock. We got that car moving around, and it's like, holy smoke, I'm ready to race. One of the coolest series that I have found is the Star Super Stock Tour. And these guys, this is a bona fide street stock touring series that races on pavement. This is in the Southeast. You know who these folks are. Welcoming in the great tandem right here that is Aaron Goodman and Boo Carlisle. Welcoming to the Revved Up Sports Show. We're deep in the heart of Texas. I think these folks are in Georgia. How we doing, guys?
Hey, buddy. How y'all fellas doing this evening? We are actually over by Virginia Beach.
Ooh.
I moved up from North Georgia to over by Langley Speedway. So we're about 9 hours from where I was at in Georgia now.
Absolutely. So Boo, kind of, before we dive into just everything that's happening with the series, and the main reason I wanted to reach out to you guys is because I saw the posts from last weekend, and that's not just a Star Super Stock issue. That's just kind of across the board, but we'll get to that. First of all, talk about how this series was born and kind of the logistics of the race cars and the general rules of what this is.
Yeah, man, it was really just born by me and Aaron actually met on the Cars tour, and you know we got to talking. She was working with Chase Burrow, and I was working for the Cars tour itself, doing the YouTube stuff, and you know we always thought it'd be a great idea for the street stock, super stock world to get something, you know, with the credibility of like a Cars tour or something, or put on events and, you know, make them feel special, and the connections that both of us had just through all the years of racing and all that type of stuff. So, you know, that's where the Star Superstock Tour was born at. I mean, you know, confetti blast in Victory Lane and big checks and, you know, just truly making them feel special. And both of us are so great at social media, especially Aaron, you know, to make graphics of practice and upcoming and race flyers and updates throughout the day and Victory Lane pictures. And so, I mean, like, I'll put us up against anybody, late model, street stocks, you know, mini stocks, anything in the world on our social media presence. She does a phenomenal job at that. You know, so that's really where it come from. As far as, you know, rules go, you can't go nowhere in any corner of the country and have the same rules for a super stock, street stock type car. The South's got their own way of doing stuff. The Northeast truly has their own way of doing stuff. The West Coast is like the wild, wild West. You know, so the rule books are kind of way, way different. You know, down here in the South, we, depending on how far you get to Florida, they run on 8-inch wheels. But in the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee area, we run on 10-inch scuffs. Makes it a whole lot easier, you know, affordable on the pocketbook. You can get 5 tires for majority of the time at our races is $200 for 5 tires.
Damn.
And, you know, and you're racing for $1,000 to win. So, and I get it, man. Top heavy purses, yada yada yada, but ain't none of us making money at the racetrack. You know, that ain't the reason we go. So, you know, but when you race with us, you ain't gonna lose a whole heap of money either.
Yeah, Boo, you're not too far from some of my relatives there in North Georgia. My grandparents lived outside of Elberton. They're outside of Lake Russell and Lake Hartwell, so you weren't too terribly far from them down in Jefferson when you used to live in North Georgia. So
no, that ain't too far at all.
Know all about where Jefferson's at. Made a few late night trips to the Peach State Speedway down there myself. So
yeah, that's it was Gresham. Like I said, I don't know, you know, what's happening down there, but I have heard that Copart was ordered to move all of their vehicles off there, and Copart has Gresham up for sale.
Well, that could be good news.
Yeah, I mean, it's still standing. Like it, you know, the asphalt would be perfect now after, you know, when it was paved in 09 and 10, hell, it was too fast to race on. It was just qualifying laps for 125 laps or 30 laps or what, you know, whatever you was racing. But damn, now that thing would be almost perfect.
So what Rodney was alluding to on the social media post, and I liked what you put, although I didn't like the way you had to word it nowadays, where you said you're interested in fixing the series because you understand, you're self-aware to know that you need more than the certain number of cars that you guys got. But the thing that got me is that you had to put in there, let's remember to keep this civil and productive. To me, it's like one of our things on the show is that racing is so detrimental to itself sometimes. And it's like, you shoot yourself in the foot because, you know, one guy gets on there and mentions that, you know, 5 years ago, my car was, you know, 2/10 faster or whatever. And now that car's sitting on jack stands in the garage, but he's got the biggest opinion out of everybody on social media about a series and a track that he's not racing at. So what's your take on some of that?
I'm gonna let Director of Operations Erin Goodman get that because she gets fired up real quick.
Smart man right there. Smart man right there.
Yeah. So first, hey guys, it's good to be here with you. That was something that, you know, in racing, there's a lot of keyboard warriors. There's a lot of couch racers, you know, call them what you want, that they know it all. They know how to fix it. They know how, you know, what the problem is, what you're doing wrong, all of the things. But at the same token, they have no clue what even goes into putting on a race. And so this was, you know, us wanting to open the conversation. What can we do to make it better? You know, we are aware there's a problem. You know, nobody wants to see more car count than we do. At the end of the day, it is a business side of it, and we're well aware when we don't have car count, when it hurts. And so I wanted that conversation to be productive, and I wanted to be proactive in it where, you know, we weren't going to tolerate or entertain those couch racers or keyboard warriors that, you know, had a car 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and, you know, this is the way that it was done back then. And okay, well, it's 2025. Like, that doesn't work anymore. We've evolved since then. We've grown since then. I don't want to entertain that. And one thing about me is they know I will respond. I will clap back. I'm not just going to sit there and take it. Sometimes Boo has to rein me in and remind me that, you know, that was a little too harsh or that was a little too mean. For an example, we had a guy, you know, try to call us out that we weren't, you know, the reason we lost his car is because we weren't responding to his messages. And I went as far as posting a screenshot of his messages, and he wanted us to tell him what gear to run at certain tracks. And the same token, he was claiming that, you know, we play favorites. And I'm like, that would be favoritism. If we sit here and tell you what you're running, help you with your setup, that's a lose-lose for us. You know, you go out there and you suck, it's our fault because we told you that gear. You go out there and you know, put a whooping on them, you know, well, we helped you because we told you what gear. We helped you with your, so, you know, our hands are tied. You know, like, that's not our place as the promoters and the owners and what we're trying to do. You know, we lose that integrity by engaging in those conversations. And so, again, it was truly a conversation that we wanted to open up, to be productive, and to get to the root of the problem. And we got amazing feedback from that. I am very thankful for the racers that took time to, you know, post in the comments and give their feedback and give their ideas. And as many comments as there was, there's double private messages that we received with racers opening up us and, you know, sharing, you know, personal reasons as to why they're not running or what's going on in their lives, you know, keeps them from the track, or, you know, any of those reasons, and trusting us enough or giving us that feedback to give us the opportunity to improve. And, you know, with that, Boo and I had a conversation last night. We sat down, we took that feedback, and we're like, right now, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to put this into action to make it better, to show them that not only are we willing to have this conversation and hear you, but we're going to put it to work and we're going to do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Erin, kind of to that point, to the keyboard warriors. I mean, my thought with that is, a lot of times when they start getting crazy online, you've got customers, you got fans that want to come out, you've got sponsors that may want to be a part of a series. They see all of that shit, and that's nothing that's going to do anything good for you guys.
Not at all.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's do that for a second. I think we got you. Nope. Okay, Boo. question for you. So, in your opinion, how important is street stock racing? I mean, to me, especially now with pro late models and supers and modifieds and all the different things that we see, street stock, super stock, that's homegrown, man. That's where it's at for all of us.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's the highest form of the blue collar racing, man. The guy that's not a manager, hell, he may be a supervisor on his own lawn care business. But at the end of the day, he don't have the money to buy a new set of tires every week or every 2 weeks. I think it's very important, as a sanctioning body or tour, however you want to word it, we don't have no control over, these cars picking up speed and stuff like that. And, we got a great tech process that Chad Hunter proceeds up, and our guys ask for tougher tech. Anything our guys have asked for, we have gave it the next race. It ain't a big pissing contest, so they wanted tougher tech, and then the next race they were complaining, okay, there's too much tech. Well, which one is it? They got to hell with a happy medium. You go and take it either one way or another. But I think street stock racing is still very important, especially down in the southeast. I mean, it's affordable. There's no certain form of race. If we was racing buggies across Kmart parking lot, we're gonna spend money to make our buggy the fastest. So there is no affordable form of racing. But as far as stock car racing goes, man, it's that fan base of our dad's generation that love those type of cars, the Camaros and the Monte Carlos and the Mustangs. Late models. I love late model racing just as much as anybody, but they're cookie cutter cars. With street stocks, you can, your mom or dad may be like, well, I had one of them back when you was a kid, or your grandma had one. I mean, there's just such ties to it. Like we had a 72 Chevelle that started on the pole this past Saturday night at Anderson. They went 3 wide for the lead. Don't only have 6 cars. We had a hell of a race the other night. We've had fields with 20 plus cars, and it'd be boring, but 6 cars.
Yep.
4 of them the other night on a hell of a show. So, 3 of them went 3 wide into one, and 1 of them came out in the air, and the other 2 went to the rear. But, as far as the street stock being important, man, I hope it never goes away. But a lot of times we're our own worst enemy on that type of deal. So we're trying our absolute best to stay positive about it and keep it headed in the right direction. But I do think that it's the highest level. I mean, you got the guy that may be able to save up his money, and he races a wide tire car. There was just something about pride on running 10-inch wheels in the 70s, or at least there was for me when I decided to go back racing in 2019. I wanted to run wide tires. I'd always hit wheels, didn't protrude past the car, and I was like, for whatever reason, it was big to me, and it's big to other people too. And the affordability side of it, I was talking with Chris Renduo, a guy up in the Northeast just earlier, and he was telling me that they have to buy 4 tires every race up there, and they race on 7-inch wheels, and I think he said it's $180 a tire. So, you're looking at just doing some quick math, you're looking at a little over $700 in a tire bill. And, yeah, obviously they're racing for more money than we are down here, but the profit margin is very much different. And that's what I said, it's all different ways in parts of the country. I think we got the most simplistic. I would like to get to where we don't have 8 pages in a rule book. Looking around as we're getting ready, Aaron had a great idea to try to do like a north-south race at the end of the point season. It'll be a completely different rule book that we're actively working on daily at this point, to try to combine 4 different rule books. The Ohio Wheelman Series, the R&R Open Series, CRA, and then the Star Superstock Tour. I mean, hell no, everybody's not going to be happy, but it's proven before when we went to South Boston, Virginia, South Boston Speedway. It's normal.
Oh, I think we might have lost Boo right there. There he is.
A non-points race at Florence Motor Speedway, the clash with Mason-Dixon.
Absolutely.
So, Boo, if you still got us, I know the connection's a little rough. So hopefully you still got us. Talk about the struggle, if you will, of just the day-to-day, right? We mentioned it a little bit with some of the keyboard warriors and couch racers and stuff like that, but is it hard to convince the guys and gals that race with you that, look, I'm a racer, I understand it, but sometimes you just got to go row the boat in the same direction and get along?
I think we lost him, Bobby.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, he was kind of fading on us right there. Let's try it one more time. Think we got him back. Boo, you got us,
back.
my man.
I got you back. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. Oh
now.
boy, that's better right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
there we go. All right.
Now. All right, Boo. So I don't know what you called. I'll recap it and make it a little shorter than I did. So talk about that daily struggle. We talked about fighting the keyboard warriors and the couch racers and stuff like that. That's one thing. But when you got the guys that are coming to the racetrack, we talk about the camaraderie a lot on this show where, the guys will let you borrow a part and piece if you need it, if something breaks. How hard is that as the promoter of the series to get everybody to row in the same direction on the boat? I mean, is it super hard, or is it one of the lucky ones where, like, everybody just does it because they all love racing and want to race each other? Which part is it for you over there in the Southeast?
For the most part, everybody will help each other. Like we got a good group of girls and guys. And when I say girls, Brittany Cockram, she's part of the Simpson Select 5 program that Aaron put together with Simpson Race Products. We got 5 drivers that have committed to the full season, and they get discounted tires, discounted entry fee, free Simpson merchandise. I mean, Simpson, JD Bowser really takes care of us. But yeah, we got good guys and girls over here that they'll help each other out. And I mean, obviously, if they run into each other, they may be pissed off at each other one week. But if somebody needs a sway bar bolt, anybody can, for the most part, walk up to anybody. And especially the front running guys will, go head and shoulders above to help the back markers. And it hadn't always been like that, when I was coming up racing. There was a time in the sport, especially back in Georgia, where I felt like they would rather you fall out of the race so they didn't have to worry about racing with you than to help you. But once we started getting to the Carolinas racing and the Virginians, it was kind of like stepping back in time to where, people would give you advice and people would help you. And, hey, anything you need, let me know. So, but yeah, we're lucky on that front that, everybody pulls the boat in the same direction to help, other racers. So, don't get me wrong. We got our complainers, that, I mean, me and Aaron have talked about it before. We could pass $100 bills out at the back gate as they left, and somebody would complain that it wasn't in 20s.
Yeah.
Or complain it's wrinkled. We've had that discussion on here before too.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's a great partnership right there. You got my lady JD. That's the dirty girl, as we used to call her on Dirty Air, JD Boucher right there. So I do want to ask you kind of off of that right there, because I think so much of street stock and super stock racing, when it comes to this stuff that we grew up doing, to this type of and I applaud you guys for keeping it alive. I mean, because we need it. That's really what it's all about. You can be pissed off at each other all the time, and you want to beat the shit out of each other after a race, but it really is the people say camaraderie all the time. They throw that word around a lot, but I think when it comes to steel-bodied asphalt stock car racing that we grew up doing and that we love so much, Boo, that's what it's all about. It doesn't survive without that familyhood that keeps it going.
Oh, 100%. And that's we've talked about it before. We both still love the cars tour very much, but when you go from the front stretch to the back stretch, everybody on the front stretch has got a black hat, black shirt, black pants, black shoes. But when you come to the back stretch, you got people with flannel shirts and dirty blue jeans. It's a lot more family when you come back there to the trailer park. Than up front. It's a business. It's a business on the front straight away, but in the back, you might as well, hell, you'd be having family picnics back there with watermelon cut. So, it is a great camaraderie and a group of guys back there, trying to, and at first they wasn't real, I ain't gonna say supportive, but they didn't understand the vision we had. And now there's a lot of them that do understand the vision we had, but we've run into this car count problem. And like I said, we're not the only ones that's facing this. Up till this weekend, the lowest car count we'd ever had was at Franklin County Speedway in Virginia, and you'd ever been there, you'd understand why it didn't have the best reputation. And it is like all been to racetracks where people say it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like I think you see nowhere city limits, and then you go 10 more minutes and it's on the right. But to be at Anderson this weekend, I mean, it was a disappointment. The locals, the week before, they had 10 cars, and out of those 10 cars, only one showed up for a race. They still came out. They was walking the pits. I seen them sitting in the grandstands eating peanuts. They just didn't come to race. The heroes of the street stock or super stock world in the Southeast were there. The best of the best were there. And I remember a time and place when, you wanted to defend your home turf.
Yep.
But they kind of let them sneak in the back door tonight and have fun at their place, and they didn't want to defend it. So I'm not sure if it was, they were like, well, we'll get our ass kicked and we're not going to go, or they didn't want to get embarrassed. I'm not sure what it was. Some cited that tire cost was more than what they paid for, and to that I'll say, well, the purse paid more. Like, it paid significantly more than a weekly show, but at the end of the day, me and Aaron talk all the time about it. All we can do is throw the party. We can't control who shows up and drinks and has a good time.
There it is. That's right.
Well, I got one last question in here coming for Aaron, and I want to know the balance, because back in the day, I used to have to do the announcing and the PR and stuff for a traveling limited modified dirt series on asphalt. So, Aaron, how do you find time to balance all that out between listening to everybody complain, helping the guys that need the help, and then finding a way to get your social media stuff up and running at the same time? How do you make that magic pot work?
Well, and I'll actually make that a little more fun for you. I also race direct. So
wow.
It is. Race day is pretty busy for me. I am all over the place, and usually if you see me on race day, my phone is in my hand and I am multitasking. I am known for having a little bit of an RBF, and so half the time it's nothing personal. I am just in my head, I'm already 5 steps ahead working on something else, and I multitask a lot, and I try to get it done. A lot of my social media stuff, like my graphics and all of that, I have pre-designed, pre-done. They're ready. All I have to do is fill in, practice times or who's on the pole, add pictures, stuff like that, to where I'm just updating and getting it out there. But it's a lot of planning, it's a lot of coordination, and it's just something that I take serious. It means a lot to me. I'm passionate about it, and it's important for me to be involved. It's important for me to make sure these guys and girls are getting that spotlight. That I know how hard it is to lock in a sponsor, and so I want to make sure that they're getting that spotlight, and they're getting that attention that they deserve. They put on a hell of a race and they show up for us. So I want to make sure that we show up for them. And I'm tired when race day is over. And when that checkered flag drops and victory lane is cleared out, the one thing that I don't get involved in is tech. I steer clear, and typically if there's issues, they'll bring me over and they'll ask my opinion, and sometimes I give it, and sometimes I tell our tech director and Biz, like, that's y'all. I'm done. Yeah. I called the race. I've done my part. Y'all figure that out. But like I said, it's a lot, but it's important, so I get it done.
I love that. Powerful lady right there. StarSuperstockTour.com is the website. So you can jump in there. You can find the race schedule, everything that's going on there, guys. Also drop the socials. And any other thoughts? I mean, folks that you want to reach out to. I mean, this thing pushes out to so many people, man. We want this to work because, like I told you guys, Bobby and I are old school short track racers. So this is the stuff that is really genuine and real to us.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is, we got a hell of a points battle going between Jeff Melton and Cody DeMarbles right now. 3 points separate them with just 3 races left. Our next one being we're rolling into Dillon Motor Speedway to work with Ron Barfield in the Mass Series on July 12th. and looking to rebound, like he struggled with car count as well. Just for an example, we looked around, we put a race on at Hickory Motor Speedway, our championship race last year at the famous historic Hickory Motor Speedway. It's kind of one to put you feather in your hat. Aaron gets to race direct at all these beautiful, famous southeastern racetracks that we hear stories about from 60 years ago. But just up the street from Hickory Motor Speedway is Tri-County Motor Speedway, a beautiful 4/10 mile facility that the Higgins family owns. And 7 days before our race there, they had 17 cars, 17 street stocks. And the next Saturday, 7 days later, we had 16 at Hickory. Problem was, not one single car from 20 minutes up the road made the trip over to Hickory. So they're right there. That tells me right there in that area, there's 33 cars.
Yep.
So that was just like doing quick math the other night. The amount of people that I counted in the pits and the stands, the race car drivers that had super stock, street stock type cars at Anderson, South Carolina, if they all would have showed up, we'd have had 14 cars take the green.
Yep.
And that was the people that I seen at the race. That ain't including the father-son duo that left their car sitting on jack stands and went fishing. Like we just got to figure out a way to get them there. You can't hold them at gunpoint, but at the same time, we're just trying to figure out a way to make everybody feel welcome and comfortable. I mean, maybe it was because it was 100 degrees. I mean, it was, it was hotter than hell, definitely. And we don't know, but we ain't giving up.
That's right. That's right. I can definitely tell that. And you guys are doing a real service because, like I said, man, this is what it's all about right here with these down home series. And congratulations on the success. I think this is just a minor bump in the road. I think with you two, with the attitude that y'all have, and y'all are going to fucking get this done. That's the only way that I can say it. So
yeah, absolutely. Before we go, let me put a plug in. If there's any Texas racers or West Coast racers. That clash at the Mason-Dixon, that's going to be real big November 15th at Florence Motor Speedway. That's going to kick off Florence 400 weekend. It's back to 2 weekends this year just because, Zacharias family got so many late models. I think they had like 63 last year, late model stocks. And, it's got so big, he's going to split it back up. Well, that weekend, the Star Super Stocks will headline that Saturday night. It'll be a 100-lap feature, 2 new tires, 2 scuffs, a completely new rule book for that event, a more special event rule book to, like I said earlier, try to combine to let the North and South guys and maybe some of the West guys, have a competing shot at it where you can bring everybody together. And, there'll be big money. We're working on it weekly to try to make it as big as possible. And we already got a lot of support. Aaron's beating the drum on the Northern guys and got a lot of partners already. So
you're forgetting the best part. We will not be single car qualifying. We will be heat racing to lock into the feature.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
There we go. That's how you do it right there. That is how you do it. That is Saturday or Friday night short track racing right there. That's how you do it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like I said, the guys that, again, what we wanted to do was make it big. There'll be driver intros where, they ain't no other place in the country where you get to walk out and wave at people. So come race with us on Saturday, November 15th. Go ahead and put it on the calendar. The Northern guys, hell, they're snowed in. So, so come on down to Florence, South Carolina. Ain't but an hour from Myrtle Beach. So Friday you can practice and then go get you some seafood down the road there, and then be back Saturday to race your butt off, and then you can have an adult beverage after and laugh and joke about all the damn fun you had.
There it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, guys, you got my contact information. Reach out to us. Let us help you. We are happy to do this all the time. StarSuperstockTour.com. Looking forward to the rest of the season and all the great things to come, guys. Thanks for taking the time and jumping on with us, Miss Erin and Mr. Boo.
Thank you very much, sir.
Y'all have a great night. Thank you.
Yeah. Y'all take care. Here we go, man. Super stock racing. Street stock racing.
It's tugging at your heartstrings.
Oh, dude.
Not only with the yellow super machine over there, but you got that orange sizzling 7 parked somewhere that's itching to go.
put away somewhere, I'll tell you. Man, great conversation right there. We can kind of dig back into that, and those folks right there, they are just going at it, and it was a rough weekend for them. But like they said, they produced one hell of a race, even with 6 cars, Bobby. And we talk about that all the time, to where sometimes you don't need 30 cars to put a hell of a race on. Speaking of a hell of a race, you had one this past weekend at Owasso, and you saw it right here on Racing America, as you had him going toe-to-toe right there. Cody Swanson all over the backside of this guy, but he could not make the move. Super excited right here to have this man on. Welcome to the Revved Up Sports Show. It is our man, Bobby Santos III. How we doing, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Absolutely, man. So kind of walk us through that one this past weekend. That was we'll kind of dig in about sprint cars on pavement. To me, that's one of those things that really gets my juices going, as well as street stock racing and so forth. But kind of talk about that race. That was one hell of a drive for you.
Yeah, we had a great night. We've struggled the last couple times we raced at Owasso, and we brought a little better race car there this time around. Put ourselves in a good spot by being good in practice, qualifying, and got out front and kind of hid for a while. And then the last, I'd say 12 laps or so, got some pressure from Cody, but held him off in traffic and, put away a good win, which was nice.
So you've raced a little bit of everything. And when I looked at the Wikipedia page, and it's just numbers of just different kind of kick-ass cars all over your career. Is there one group or one set of series that just sticks out? You're like, man, that was the most fun I had. Or is it just what you're doing now, having more fun nowadays? I mean, what has moved that needle for you in terms of just having fun? And, because it's still a business, right? Everybody got to try to make money, especially when you're a race car driver, but it's still about having fun a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love open wheel race cars, from the super modifieds. Obviously, the last couple of years really been focusing on the sprint car racing, where I can make a living doing it, and that's what I do right now, working on sprint cars and racing sprint cars. I always say probably the most fun I ever had racing, which unfortunately we don't get to do anymore, is when we used to race the midgets on the miles. That was probably the stupidest racing I did, but the most fun racing I did at the same time.
So Bobby, with that, like with sprint cars down here in Texas where we're at, I mean, very sprint car heavy when it comes to 305s and 360s and 410s on dirt. But we have one pavement track is what we have left around here, and they're going to have an asphalt race with sprint cars, with the big sprint cars on there. But kind of talk about that with those big tires. It really is one of those things to where like that takes a special kind of really want to get this done to be able to do that, man, because you're hauling ass out there, and the open wheel thing, to me, I raced a dwarf car for a while, and that was one of the things that I really had to adjust to, because in a stock car, I would lean on somebody. I did that one time, and I went in the air in a dwarf car. The open wheel part and hauling ass like you guys do, kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the sprint car is the ultimate race car. You got 900 horsepower, 1,400 pounds. Everywhere we go, sprint cars typically set the track record on every track they're at. So to me, as far as speed, agility, the way they race, sprint cars are the ultimate car. We do the wing stuff, the non-wing stuff, and it's so crazy because we use the same basic car, wing and non-wing, but driving them, they're two totally different race cars because of the downforce, and then the non-downforce, the non-wing car. But two different disciplines, but really enjoy racing both of them and the competitive side of each of them.
That stole my thunder slightly, but I'll add another question to that in terms of like the different variety of the sprint cars. What we've noticed is that, at least in our world, is that it's like Rodney said, 305, 360 kind of heavy. Your average fan can't tell the difference in our mind, right? They're just like, oh, that's the car with the wing, or that's those cars with those big tires if they happen to run them without the wings, right? So from your perspective as a competitor that runs those style of cars, do you notice a different reaction when it's a 410 versus a 360 or something like that? Or is it just the fans are the same way? Like, oh, hey, we just know that you got a really fast ass car.
Yeah, fans definitely don't notice the 360 versus 410 stuff that we do. Like the Silver Crown Racing, that's actually with a 360 engine, and which seem odd to people because Silver Crown cars are bigger than sprint cars and they have a smaller engine. But I'd say as far as fans go, they really seem to like the wing racing for whatever reason. I think it's the speed. Obviously the big wing where you can see the numbers and the guys' numbers. Something about wing racing the fans seem to really enjoy and want to come out for.
Bobby, is there, you talked about racing on the mile racetracks. Is there, when you're on the mile, and again, like I said about with the no fenders and everything, just the speed and the horsepower that you guys are carrying, is there ever a time out there when you're on a mile where you can actually relax just for even a split second, just with everything that's going on? I mean, I can't imagine the mental capacity that it takes to be doing that stuff on one of them, like New Hampshire or one of those big ass racetracks like that.
Yeah, there's definitely not much relaxed time in
Yeah.
an open wheel car on really any track. I mean, we race 500 laps around Anderson in a quarter mile to we were just at Gateway not long ago in a mile and a quarter racing the Silver Crown cars, and I mean you're working on the straightaways. I mean, and then the short tracks you're constantly in the corner. So there's definitely no relax in a open wheel sprint car where, I've raced the modifieds on say the miles or the bigger tracks, and you can you feel like you can relax a little bit on the straightaway with those things. But sprint car racing, there's definitely not much relaxing.
Absolutely.
That sounds crazy to me. How do you survive, which I guess would be more in air quotes for those that are be listening as the podcast goes. I mean, how do you survive, 500 laps there at Anderson, right? It's like probably taking a bottle rocket inside a goldfish bowl kind of with those little cars, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is a grueling race. I mean, there's so many aspects to that race, from the pit stops to to the longevity to last for 500 laps around that place. But that race has really changed. I know when I first ran it to the way it is now, it's really turned into 500 laps of sprint car racing. There's really not much saving your tires anymore or conserving your equipment. I mean, it's 500 laps, run as hard as you can run. I mean, it's just something you got to be prepared for and train for, and it's definitely not easy. That's for sure.
Elbows up and white knuckle, everything else you can think of on cliches
Yeah.
like that. So kind of pulling up that picture right there. Let's talk about, I know a lot of folks, familiar with you. Let's talk about the family heritage right here of the Santos family. This goes way back, and it's a long line of family tree and so forth. And you carrying that right now, kind of talk about your career and dig it all back for folks that may not be familiar with you guys.
Yeah, I'm lucky that obviously I got into racing from a young age. But my grandfather was a modified racer in New England. They called him the Frito Bandito,
There it is.
was his nickname. But he raced modifieds on the East Coast, out New York, Connecticut, obviously. Won a grandfather clock at Martinsville. So obviously it started with my grandfather, and then for me, my dad really carried it on. My dad raced a little bit himself, but he basically gave up his racing for myself and my sister, and got me and my sister Erica into quarter midget racing when we were young, and we did that for a lot of years. Really enjoyed that. Made a lot of friends that we still have today from quarter midget racing, and then. Actually, at 13, my dad got me in a super modified at Star Speedway for the first time, and that's kind of where it started, and kind of got the interest in the open wheel stuff, which eventually led to what I'm doing now. But being from Massachusetts and growing up in New England, of course, modifieds was gonna be a part of what I do, and was lucky enough to win a modified championship with Bob Garbarino and the Mystic Missile in 2010, and got to drive for a lot of different car owners through the years, drive for a lot of different types of cars, and just obviously really still enjoying what I'm doing. I got a great car owner right now with Dick and DJ Racing that allows me to, take care of all my own cars and work on all my own cars and, race and do it for a living. So just enjoying that right now as long as I can with my family and, see how much longer we can do it for.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bobby, you brought up quarter midgets, and somebody that's been around this as long as you have with the generations that's raced in your family. What is that next step to get this next group of kids involved or next generation of racers? Is it still quarter midgets? Is it legends, bandoleros, or is it just simply getting them off the phones and the tablets and getting them to the racetrack? What do you think is that magic combination to get that next group of racers to come to this sport?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. You definitely got to get kids out and interested in it one way or another, no matter what form of racing it is. I mean, for me, quarter midgets was great. We felt like, you're driving a car with suspension. So, you got the feel of, four shocks and springs and all that. And you learned the mechanics of them are similar to a big car as far as, the adjustments and stuff like that. So to me, quarter midgets is great. Obviously, you look at, talent came, from all different forms of racing. So I don't know that it necessarily matters what you get started in or do, but, young kids just getting involved in, karts, quarter midgets, micros, any form of motorsport to me is great. To get kids introduced to it and, want to be around it. And, you'll see, to me, my biggest advice for kids is understand your race car and help work on it. And I'm so lucky that my dad, I didn't have a choice growing up. My dad made me do it. And that is the reason why I have the job that I have now, is because I know how to work on my own cars, start to finish, and do everything. Because just driving, I probably wouldn't be able to make a living, but the fact that I take care of all my own stuff and make a living on that side of it. So I'd tell any young kid to, to understand your race car, know how to work on your race car. And not everyone can be Kyle Larson and just get in and drive and be great. So a lot of people need to learn how to work on their stuff too.
Yeah, lots of that. We need a lot of that. That's a big problem. So I have to ask you, like you guys in New England with the modifieds and so forth, with the big tires and everything, down here in the South and Southeast, we've got some really fast modifieds, but they're racing around on skinny 8-inch tires. Have you ever had the chance to drive an asphalt modified on a little skinny tire like that, to where it's like you just can't get the horsepower to the ground because there's not enough tire to get you around the racetrack?
I have run an IMCA style modified at New Smyrna years ago, and I think it was like an 800 horsepower style modified with 8-inch tires. So I've not done a lot of that, but I have done that. I mean, definitely done obviously some big tire stuff on a lot of it. The NASCAR modifieds are, I think, 14-inch tires. The sprint car stuff is 18-inch right rear tire. Even a midget with the weight to horsepower of a midget is probably unmatched to anything. You got 400 horsepower on a 10-inch tire. So done a little bit of everything with different tires, which to me, throttle management, tire management, type racing is what I personally enjoy. I enjoy, over horsepowered, under downforced race cars. That to me is fun. And, I kind of miss a little bit of I feel like the tires don't fall off like they used to. Yeah. And I wish the tires were the way they were 20 years ago when I first started doing this, where you got punished for not taking care of your equipment and stuff. I think in today's racing, that's definitely somewhere where we went the wrong direction. But we all got to adapt to what we have now, and that's kind of the tires are the way they are today.
Yes, sir.
So, Bobby, in your mind, obviously the money has been the biggest change in terms of how much this stuff costs. what's been the biggest change in the last 20 years? Has it been, other than cost, has it been the technology that's come into the sport? Is it the change in the driver attitude? Is it the change in just the way that social media has come to affect it, or is it a little bit of everything?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. But I guess a couple of those things you mentioned, I absolutely hate. The technology, I absolutely hate. Social media, I absolutely hate. I don't do any of that. My wife does it all for me.
Yeah, she
So
responded that fast. I'm like, all right, I
yeah.
love it.
So I'm not on top of any of that. I mean, I hate social media and everything that comes with it, and I understand the importance of it. And it's probably hurt my racing career that I'm not better at it, but I'm kind of I'm stubborn at this point that it just doesn't interest me. So I let her do what she wants to do, and beyond that, I really don't care. And then the technology, the other thing, I personally, again, would love to see more old school style racing with less computers, less cameras, less of all that crap in our sport. I think that stuff just ruined it. But at the same time, you got to understand that it evolves and changes, and if you don't try to keep up with it, you get left behind.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's right.
it's such a tough battle, but though, and obviously, like been back to what you originally said, money drives a lot of that stuff that's changed racing. But again, we got to keep up with it and evolve in the changes that are happening.
Yeah. Last one for me, Bobby. I mean, I think your career, just everything like you talked about. I mean, all the years that you've done, I mean, the way that you came into the sport, I mean, it's one of those things we joke around to where it's like myself, it was unavoidable that I was going to be in racing. I was going to have to be in racing whether I wanted to or not in some form or fashion. And I've been in several different ways of it. But like for you, having gone different places and raced different series and all of this, and the career continues to go. But right now you're in a place where you're doing what you really love in a spot that you really are happy. That's probably the best racing career you can have, and to where you hit those peaks and boom, here you are to where it's just oozing out of your veins all the time, where you're so happy doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm super lucky. I mean, I had aspirations to race in NASCAR and IndyCar and those type of things. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still feel that I'm more than capable of doing either one of those things. But at the same time, I'm a realist, and I understand at my age and where I'm at in racing that that I'm going to be a short track racer. And I feel that I'm one of the lucky ones that can be a short track racer and make a living doing it and enjoy it. My family comes all the time. The races with me, my parents are at almost every race they can be at. My wife and my kids are at all the races. So I'm extremely lucky that I get to do what I do and enjoy the racing that I get to enjoy. And as far as I'm concerned, it's some of the best racing in the world, most competitive racing in the world. And I'll continue to do it, like I said, as long as I can.
Absolutely.
No, I'd like to end on that, but I just wanted to ask you about the remaining portion of your kind of summer schedule. Obviously, USAC runs all over the country, all different kind of places. What's going on the next 4 to 6 weeks for you with the USAC stuff?
Yeah, actually, this next week is craziness for us right now. We're going to Winchester with our Silver Crown car and our sprint car, and back-to-back couple days here this weekend. And then, that's non-wing sprint car, Silver Crown car. And then we travel out to Colorado for a really cool show at Colorado National Speedway for 2 days of wing sprint car racing. Got that coming up. In the fall, we got a couple big must-see races down in Florida, Pensacola, and Montgomery, Alabama. And then we end the season with one of my favorite races that we got going on right now is the Open Wheel Showdown that Davey Hamilton's been putting on the last couple of years. It's really cool. He actually really helped raise the bar in our level of racing with the purses that we're getting on pavement. He's paying, $50,000 to win that race. And we've been close the last 2 years, ran second the last 2 years. So would really like to get that one this fall would be awesome.
Absolutely. Great stuff, man. Congratulations on the win at Owasso. You guys are coming south. I may come tap you on the shoulder, show up for one of those races, and check you out, man. Thanks for jumping on here, man. This is so special to have you on here and talk about your career and just everything that you guys are doing. Looking forward to the rest of the year, my friend, and keep picking up those checkered flags, dude.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You bet. There he goes. Bobby Santos III. And that's that really is the thing that I really respect about him, to where it's like he's done the Busch Series and Nationwide, whatever you want to call it. And you listen to him talking about, and that's kind of the theme of our show tonight, is that's what we like to talk about is short track racing. Obviously, you're talking about a grassroots short track series that, is just fighting and spending their own money to do things. And then you got Bobby Santos that is out there racing on these 500 laps. Holy shit. That's crazy, man. That is crazy.
Not even, I can imagine those cars. I mean, I watched them on TV in Winchester with those USAC and the sprint cars and Silver Crown cars. I mean, the testicular fortitude it takes to go all out at Winchester is crazy in a super late model, much less in a USAC Silver Crown car and a sprint car. That to me is just unreal. I wouldn't even begin to get down pit road with one of those, much less run wide ass open going into turns 1 and turns 3 there at Winchester.
Yeah, and I know the thing about it is, like when he was talking about on the mile racetracks, and that was kind of a stupid question asking about relaxation, because you can't. But it's like, I mean, just think about that. I mean, they don't let up. I mean, that is sheer horsepower, and it's a special kind of person to do that, and Bobby's been doing it for so. I think Bobby New England is what I saw that I didn't want to ask him about that. I mean, a lot of times people get those nicknames and they don't like that, but maybe I should have asked. But man, it's just a great story what he does, and also that's another track to where you see what goes on out there, and that is just sheer. And luckily we get that at Texas. He mentioned Pensacola. Can you imagine those guys at Pensacola?
Yeah, that must-see series is pretty impressive.
Oh man, that is going to be.
I mean, it literally is must-see, right? Like, it's not just a play on words. Like, if you're a race fan, especially seeing the sprint cars on pavement, must-see down there in Florida and in the southeast down there, deep southeast. It's a hell of a series to watch. And I mean, you can look them up on YouTube if you want to see some highlights. But man, same thing. It takes a great amount of testicular fortitude to run sprint cars on pavement. It doesn't matter where. Like those guys coming to run Houston, July 5th weekend, there at the Palace of Power. That one's going to be one to watch. That is definitely going to be one. Like I'm coming back on a plane late night, and I'm contemplating getting up, getting in from Vegas at midnight and getting up in the morning and driving to Houston to watch that one.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was that weekend. I'm actually going to be in Houston for work, and I'm hoping that that's later in the night, because I may try to jostle over there just to see that, even if it's the only thing that I see. If I get there and I'm able to pop in there and get to watch that, because and it looks like, from everything that I see, it looks like they are going to have a pretty good car count, and I continue to see different folks entering, and I think that'll be really good to see. But it is, man, that takes a special kind of balls to be able to do that stuff. But anyway, great conversation with Bobby Santos the third, and of course with Boo Carlisle and Miss Erin Goodman right there talking about the Star Super Stock Series. Stick around, guys. We'll talk some NASCAR. But first, how about a great word from our friends at My Race Pass?
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Absolutely. Pick that up today. That is the best way to enjoy your racing experience is with the My Race Pass app. Bobby, before we dive into NASCAR, I do want to show our folks, because I think a lot of folks probably haven't seen this, but I think last weekend or last Thursday or whenever we had the show, we were talking about the Mike Parker Memorial that was happening over in Texarkana, well, in Arkansas. Texarkana tends to throw people off. You had a big, what was that, 10K to win on the line, $10,000 to win. This is how that race ended. It's kind of minimized right there, but that's Dalton Faulkner right there on the outside in the purple car number 27, and then Keaton Atkinson up on the top. And that's how they came across the line right there. And of course, everybody goes to the immediate response. Here's a replay of it from our friends over at Race On, and up and over they go. And I'll tell you, man, if you want to be stroke or ace, that's how you finish out a race, man. 10K on the line. Wow.
Yeah,
Hell of a way to finish out a big
10K on the line. But the biggest thing, if you catch the social media reactions to that, is that Atkinson's helmet came off during that flip. So I don't know if his Hans broke, if the chin strap broke, or whatever. But that's the biggest. Other than the finish itself, the biggest thing that I caught about that on social media was that the helmet came off mid flip. So that's that'd be a time to buy a lottery ticket or head over to the church on Sunday. So something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a hell of an ending. Obviously social media split 50-50, half on the 27, half on the 20, or whatever number the Atkinson is. That we know Dalton, he's been on the show before. He can be aggressive, but not aggressive like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was kind of chalked up to kind of a racing deal, but obviously everybody kind of split 50-50 like they usually are there on social media. So
yeah, always going to be an opinion on what happens there. But if you really go back and watch that race, I mean, Faulkner was doing a really good job to race on the top side of the racetrack, and that's something that we've watched Dalton Faulkner do endless times when he's. I mean, that's a guy where he's going to figure out what line's going to work for him. That racetrack had matured itself to where Dalton's car was working really well on the top side, and I really looked at that just in a kind of a couple of different ways, to where Atkinson he had one chance. He had one chance to try to go up on the top side. He had a lot of momentum if you go back and watch that again, working up there. But that's where Dalton's car was really working well. So he was actually going to gravitate to the top. And you had to where it's like, so-and-so's a dirty driver. And it's not that. It's not that. I mean, that's not what that was. That was just hard racing, and that's a big payday. Like we talk about. Mark Underwood comes home third, Neil Kemp, Lee Patton rounding out the top five there at Texarkana. But that's how you finish. That's how you finish a race out. If you're going to go for it, if you're gonna tighten that, like when what's his name, America's crew chief says, tighten up them belts, blah, 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 tighten up them belts and come off a turn 4 and just give it everything you have. And that's exactly what Keaton Atkinson did right there.
If you're not going to win, make sure they know you finished second.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the scary part about it, to where the helmet does actually come off, and that's where I watched the Earnhardt documentary, and the different things that have been said about how all of that happened, and that's where you really have to take that safety into priority. But then it goes back to the violence of the hit. If you go back and look at that, I mean that's a concrete retaining wall there at Tim's track.
And they got lucky that didn't end up hitting the flag stand and doing worse damage.
Oh, dude, that's the first thing when I first saw that on Sunday morning. When I saw that car go up in the air, I'm like, is that going to hit the catch fence? Is that thing going to go up into the bird cage? I mean, because I've seen that before. I remember as a kid, traumatized when the damn flag man gets knocked off of the flag stand at Speedorama. I'm like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be fun, So, yeah, very lucky. But Dalton Faulkner with yet another win there at in a big factory stock race.
Imagine that. Another big win for Faulkner.
Yeah.
I may see him this weekend. Weather still permitting down there at Texana. So they're talking about running juice boxes. So he likes when his kids come down and get a chance to run go-karts and juice boxes. So
I think you guys are going to be fine this weekend, unless they cancel it due to heat.
It rained today down there.
Yeah, it got gray around here. It got gray.
Gord said that there's some water there, but unless it comes a gully washer again, tonight or tomorrow, everything should be everything should be ready to go. Maybe a couple of spots of standing water when it comes to Saturday, but so far everything's a go for Stems and Texana for on-demand shirts night with our friends James Cole. We'll be handing out lots and lots of cool gifts and souvenirs and swag or whatever you want to call it to the fans in attendance. So lots of cool stuff. We'll be there supporting in all aspects of that deal since show partner.
They might have some revved up stuff to give away that night.
Maybe.
I am actually off this weekend or Saturday, so shit, I might have to take the little drive down there and check all that out. I think that'd be fun. Pro Late Models at Mobile. It was John Boland on the last lap making the pass on Dustin Smith to win there. Dustin Smith seemed to be and Dustin Smith, we talked to him about a month ago, and that dude has been on some kind of roll, and the super late model program has been stepping up exceptional for them. And actually, you've got the Southern Super Series coming up at Pensacola this weekend as well. So that one's going to be a good show coming up. But Dustin Smith, one spot short there as he led the majority of that race. And how about Chris Davidson? I mean, that's a cool thing. Like when I look up and I'm looking at social media, kind of previewing some stuff that's happening, and I see there's Christopher. He never told me he was racing. And I text him. I'm like, dude, what the hell? He's like, you should have come. I'm like, dude, I didn't know you were racing. So Chris with a nice third. Chris is so funny because Chris, Davidson Electric, great friends of ours, down here in Texas, and Texas legend Greg Davidson. It's like Chris, it's like when you start to forget about Chris, he races. It's like that's what you talk about, keeping those what Jim Dunlap you used to say, keeping those senses keen. Chris races just enough to keep those senses keen right there.
Just enough to stay on top of the technology of the cars. So between Chris and Mike Garvey, they get their stuff together. I think Chris races just enough, and he lets Mike race just enough to be able to stay on top of what those cars are doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Good run there for Chris on the podium at Mobile. And again, coming up this weekend, a double header for the Modifieds of Mayhem. It's Friday night at Pensacola, Saturday at Mobile International Speedway. A couple of Texans there. Our man Jared Maupin will be there. We'll be in contention as he's starting to assert himself there into that genre of racing, as we talked about Joe Armandia, and lots of at least 20 that I've seen that are signed up to do that doubleheader. Southern Super Series will be on as well, the Blizzard 100. Can anybody beat Cole Butcher? I think it's going to be the question, because that dude is just tearing them up right now, tearing them up in super late models there, and Donnie's number 28.
Yeah, now Donnie's got a great program there with Butcher rolling, and they ended last year very strong, and they've started out this year. Then got the big win a couple of weeks ago. I guess now 2 weeks ago up there at Slinger, outlasted and out battling Ty Majeski. So he's on a roll, and he likes Pensacola. So we'll have a tendency to see how well that shakes out for them when they come in and do battle there on the high banks there at the Sparkling City there by Pensacola, or they're in Pensacola rather.
Absolutely. All right, on to the big leagues, I guess, if you want to call them that. So we had you had NASCAR racing this weekend at Pocono, and it was delayed. And I got to tell you, pretty entertaining. I watched most of that race. I mean, I think I watched all of it, and it really was to where this car does. There are some tracks to where this car does produce a little bit better racing. I just like seeing cars racing together, and it seems like we saw a little bit more of that at Pocono than we typically do.
Yeah, a little bit of it. It was still Pocono to me, though. Although the prime pre and post race was great. Post race not as crisp because they had to fill in so much time. But I thought the post race was great. I didn't realize that Chase Briscoe's not a drinker because he didn't drink any beer. With the final toast, but I think all in all, I think a solid A, grade A for what Prime was able to do for 5 weeks. There's many people as complained about they didn't watch it, and it's definitely tied to demographics. The older demographic was down because they didn't watch it. Younger demographic was up. I think NASCAR, and it's going to sound bad, and you when you say it, you get people thinking, no, they're abandoning their older core fan, which I don't know if they're necessarily abandoning their core fan, but I think it's one of those to where NASCAR will take losing some of the older demographic for 5 races to pick up that younger demographic by a full 10 to 15 years and try to get them to transition back to TNT, which, oh, by the way, guess what? You got to pay for that too.
Yeah.
TNT is not free.
Well,
But you don't have to switch your cable box off and switch on a streamer to get to it, though. That's the only plus.
and here's where I really think that what NASCAR did right here, I don't think they meant to do this, but the way that this all plays out is we were talking, there with Aaron and Boo about keyboard warriors and the different people that are always making the comments and so forth and so on. I think let's just say that NASCAR, let's say that they read into the social media box and that's all that they're focusing into. They see we older people that are like, forget it. I'm done with it. I don't like it. Junior's gone. Well, Junior, bad example. He's there.
Senior's gone.
Yeah, Senior's gone. I mean, all of these people are gone. What have they done? They read all of that stuff and they went out and they are chasing a new demographic. And I'm here to tell you that I think especially that the timing of the schedule is going to work out so well that you have the 5 weeks of prime. And by the way, that post race that they did, that shit is gold. I hope that all the other providers, I know it's harder with networks and all that, I hope that they duplicate and try to do something like that, because to me that's the coolest part of their entire presentation. But what NASCAR did is they went and they're like, okay, so if we can't count on you loyal people, we're going to go find a new audience, which is something that I've been saying for the longest time that they should do. We can't count on it's like, when you got 5 friends and you're in jail and you call 4 of them and you ain't going to get them on the phone. Let me call that one that's maybe the one that I don't think I'm going to get, and they're going to be the one to help me. And I think that that's what NASCAR did. And the way that this thing all plays itself out twofold. Number one, the CW's coverage is really good. I really like what the CW is doing. It's on free TV. It's easy to find. It's an energetic booth and so forth. But now NASCAR transitioning over to TNT, they're going to bring that new audience with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I think those numbers will be great. So I don't know if it's an experiment. I don't think it is. It's something that's going to continue. I loved it. I think the Prime experience was amazing.
It's been really good. In fact, the rating. Did you see the ratings today or yesterday for the CW on Pocono on the CW? Good Lord, it was like peaked at like 1.5 million viewers.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn impressive for Pocono.
It is.
Of course, that race was actually pretty good too. But
yeah, well, you had the storyline there, and that was the whole thing to where this whole thing is built with, and that's where I joked around about, because obviously with Xfinity in Mexico, that race was rigged, is the way that all worked out. I'm like, I said it before the race ever started. I said, if Zilich wins this race, is it rigged? And I had people replying and say, you're full of shit. I'm like, what's the difference? I mean, what seriously, what is the difference?
Yeah, you grabbed your big spoon for that one.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, I think it was great. I mean, I think that they survived. They went through tech and everything was just fine. That was the joke that he had on his on some of the pre-race stuff that we heard him, do with our buddies on Sirius XM. It was like, look, he says, my first goal is to get through tech and not get thrown out.
Yeah. He
said, because that's the number one goal, is to try to get it in the show or get it at the track so that you don't get, you as a crew chief don't end up getting ejected. And that would not be fun if you're the guest crew chief for a week, the fill-in crew chief for a week, and then something happens at the track and you get booted. So you got to bring in somebody else. But all in all, I think it was a decent race for the Xfinity Series. I thought it was a lot of fun. The excitement was there. The racing was there. I think Chase Elliott, a couple little miscues here and there, cost him that win in that 17 car. But all in all, I think that the Xfinity Series delivered again. I thought it delivered a little bit better than the Cup Series did. When you sit there, and it blows my mind every time. And I don't know if it's a TV thing, not to piss on the TNT or the Prime coverage, but every network does it. They talk about fuel mileage when the crew chief says, it's on me, I effed it up, you're going to run out of gas, and then they don't run out of gas and then have enough gas to do a burnout so they blow the tires out.
Yeah.
Always blows my mind. It's like, you get the tense, is he going to run out? Is he going to run out? And he wins and then does the burnout and doesn't run out of gas. Every once in a while you'll see it. But now it's like they got enough gas to do the burnout so they blow out the tires, and it's like, well, that anticlimactic now.
Yeah, well, that's where you got to get them burnouts done and move that weight around and all that shit to make sure that you get through that aforementioned tech that goes on right there. But yeah, I think it was a great run for Prime. I think that is something that moving forward is going to be a great look, man. That they do the NFL. I mean, it was for the folks that were thinking that Prime was going to do this and fall on their face like Netflix did with what was that Netflix tried when it crashed? I don't remember what that was.
The Tyson fight.
Oh, the Tyson fight, yeah, where you thought that was going to happen. I mean that isn't. I mean, because they're proven and they're ready to go. But I think that I really hope that I haven't watched TNT this week. I mean, there's not really anything on TNT now that. What's over basketball's over, hockey's over. I mean, that's the stuff that I would watch on there. Now that all that shit's done, I don't know what kind of promoting is going on for folks to realize that's for the new fans to know that that's going to be a Saturday night race.
They were talking about it on Prime.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they were talking about it in post race. They were like, because they talked about that in-season tournament. What's your take on this 5-race in-season tournament? I think it's closer to a playoff system because you're going head-to-head versus 1 and 37.
I don't completely understand what's going on. I mean, I haven't really dug into it. I don't know how that thing works.
You can play. They do an in-season tournament just like we do with our fantasy league. They actually have a thing. You can actually do the 32 driver fantasy board just like you do for March Madness. You can do it on NASCAR.com and try to pick your winner.
So what is that the in-season tournament? Is that just for fans, or does a driver benefit from that?
Yeah,
at all?
if you win the in-season tournament, you get $1 million.
Oh shit! Damn, I didn't know that part.
Yeah,
bad on me for not knowing.
It's the number 1 seed. Ty Dillon is the 32nd seed. They go head-to-head at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
On Saturday night. I mean, I'll be busy. I'll be down at Texana, but that should be that night race at Atlanta on that new mile-and-a-half configuration is just badass.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great. So I take back what I said. I'm not going to Edna. I'll be watching that. Sure as hell, it's going to rain, and they'll run it on Sunday afternoon. So
rain is in the forecast.
Oh, great! Of course.
So they're talking to James Small when I was out running errands today on Sirius XM. There's a potential rain issue on Saturday night. So.
That's tough this time of year there with Atlanta. It's like Texas. I mean, you never know what you're going to get on any given day, like we were talking earlier about gray clouds and so forth. And speaking of James Small, I mean, for Chase Briscoe, I think that's one where a lot of people where it was like, why is he not producing? But I've kind of felt this coming. I mean, as fast as they've been on Saturdays, to where you figured at some point the monkey was going to get off his back to where they were going to break through and win. And the whole thing about it is, and it's the way that everything is spun with media and so forth, to where it's like, Briscoe being in the 19 car, that's a proven car. Yeah, this, that, and the other. Well, Martin Truex did a lot of good things in that car, but the last couple of years, he wasn't knocking it out of the fucking park in that car.
No, he wasn't knocking them out like the other two. And Chase Briscoe's feeling the heat. I mean, because you got Denny Hamlin with 3 wins, you got Christopher Bell with 3 wins, and he doesn't have any as a new kid on the block. I still say you put James Small and SVG together as a crew chief and a driver, gold.
Yeah,
because they could speak that foreign language that only them two know. They could talk about meters and kilometers instead of feet and car lengths and. Give me when they could speak that same language. But yeah, I mean, Small's not going to leave Joe Gibbs and SVG is not leaving Trackhouse. So it's a pipe dream, but I still think the two of them together. As far as Atlanta weather goes, Friday night, 66% chance of rain. And Saturday night is a 42% chance of rain in the evening.
Yikes. That's not good. That is not good. And the shitty part is, I mean, that's one thing that Atlanta's had problems, where it's like, with crowds and so forth. I mean, people are going to look at that and that's going to keep people away. But kind of to your point right there about the in-season tournament, I think the way the next few races lay out, unless I'm wrong, which I probably am, but I think you've got some, what do you have? 2 road courses in there.
You got Chicago and Sonoma back to back.
There you go. So that's definitely going to shake some of that up. And I think at the same time, it's going to, maybe get you a couple of different people into the playoffs. I was going to say Chase into the playoffs right there, to where, I mean, you would think that SVG would be the betting favorite for both of those. but you never know. I mean, you got to get to the end. So yeah, I think that'll be real cool to watch. I'm looking forward to that kind of added storyline. And again, that's something I have seen some of the negative stuff about. Well, now here's NASCAR doing another happy horse shit show right here with this in season thing. You know what? The NBA does it. I mean, baseball does different things.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, you have to do it. And I think the transition over, with TNT, but I like the Saturday night race, and I hope that they get to race that, because I think they're going to have a lot of momentum coming over from Prime, because that was a really, really cool presentation.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get the TNT races will air on TNT Sports, the Bleacher Report Sports app, and Max.
Oh, that's plenty.
And then new change, the qualifying and stuff will no longer be on Prime. The second half practice and qualifying events will be simulcast on Max and True TV, or HBO Max, whatever it's called now.
Oh, True TV also? Man,
True TV. Well, they're supposed to be turning True TV into a sports network.
No more crime shows.
Oh. Yeah. No more Impractical Jokers.
Oh my God. Thank goodness. Oh my Lord. I remember my kids would watch that shit at nauseum. I'm like, all right, turn it off. I've seen this. Of course, they've watched me watch show after show. You were talking a while ago about getting thrown out. What the hell's going on in NHRA? Sean Langdon gets
Everybody
thrown
getting
out.
tossed, didn't they?
Right. I mean, you sent me the thing the other week about our girl Erica, or lady Erica Enders. I mean, and so forth. But missing bell housing bolts.
Yeah.
How do you miss that?
It's just, I mean, no publicity is good publicity kind of thing.
I guess, but it's like, man, that's NHRA there with their releases these days. I'm like, damn, I think I might need to hone in a little bit more and kind of tune into drag racing, because it's like it's that whole Bill France thing, to where it's like, you leave the track on Sunday, I want you to know who won. And we're starting to see it now in drag racing, to where it's like on whatever today is, Tuesday, it's like, boom, here comes a statement where, yes, that disqualification was legit. And man, kind of weird.
Here's your 5 races on TNT. They get Atlanta, Chicago Street Race, Sonoma, Dover, and Indy.
Ooh, Indy. Yeah. There you go. That's definitely a nice variation of racetrack that you're going to be getting right there. You get, I mean, I know you get 2 road courses, and I've seen some of the,
but they're polar opposite road courses, though. Not just across country wise, but polar opposites.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
enjoy that Chicago race, because that's the last year of that Chicago race.
Yeah. See you later, Chicago. It was nice. Maybe we go back to Chicagoland and on to San Diego, maybe, is what we do.
Yeah, I think it's going. We keep hearing that one. It's like Texas State to the Pac-12. It's moving to see. We keep seeing San Diego is up on the list. So
yeah, and you think about that with Atlanta. I mean, with the hybrid super speedway, and then with Dover. I mean, Dover's just. I mean, that's the monster mile. I mean, it really is. And then Indy. That I think Indy. I'm always look forward to anything going on at Indianapolis, but I think this year, I think Indy's going to be pretty special. I think just that everything that we saw with the 500, I think some of that does carry over, and NASCAR actually being on the oval again. I think it's really going to catch its stride. I mean, we watched TMS kind of come alive again, so I think Indy's the next one that we're really going.
The Indy race last year was good because they returned to the oval for the first time in 3 years. So I think that it's found its place back on the crown jewel list. I think, with it being back to the Brickyard 400. You got your 5 crown. What we ever determined? We had that poll on here one time. Was it 4 or 5 crown jewels? Because you had the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, the Brickyard 400, and the Southern 500. Yeah. And then the next question was, did you count one of the races at Talladega or Bristol as a crown jewel?
Yeah, that's a really good one that we had to dig into next week and kind of break some of that down, because a lot of people do throw the Talladega thing in there, and to me, I'm not.
I put Bristol before Talladega.
I think I would too. I mean, I really think I would too. Obviously,
with Bristol, baby.
Yeah. Well, with the 500 and I think a lot of people, because there's still a lot of people, I think, that don't, the people that don't watch anymore, the old school people that don't think that stock cars belong at Indianapolis, to where it's like, I mean, come on. Yeah. How do you not race there? And I think it's one of those things. What I've always enjoyed about Indianapolis with the stock cars is not so much just it being at Indianapolis and the love that I have for that place. Those cars look so uncomfortable there. It's like, when you're in a setting somewhere and you just feel really just like shit. That's what I don't care if it's a Gen 7 car or whatever it is. They just don't look comfortable there. And that's what makes that special.
It makes it fun.
Yeah,
It makes it fun to watch. But I mean, it's kind of like, watching cup cars in Indy is like watching, it's like playing pickleball at a full-size tennis court kind of thing,
Yeah.
Or playing full-size tennis at a pickleball court, I think would be the better.
Yeah.
Because the track is so small and those cars are so wide.
Mm-hmm.
Or small width-wise, obviously it's 2.5 miles around, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I heard a little bit of the argument after the last IndyCar oval race, because it comes up all the time, because the argument about IndyCars being back on more ovals, and when they're on ovals, I think it should be TMS and some of those cookie cutters, whatever you want to call them. I saw something on Twitter to where the argument back about, well, race them on Daytona. Like, are you kidding?
No, they couldn't. The kart cars couldn't go at TMS without passing out. You can't run them damn cars at Daytona.
It's like you purposely want people to die.
Put them on the Roval. I think an IndyCar race at the Roval will be a damn entertaining show.
Man, imagine
you get a little bit of both.
Those Indy cars up on the banking, man. That would be so cool. That would be so cool.
I think it'd be neat as hell to have them come through like that, and that could be your test. You don't run them to the full length. If you run anything, an IndyCar at anything, you're going to run the road course at Daytona. You're not going to run the full speed. But I would run an IndyCar race. I would run an IndyCar race at the Roval instantaneously. I think that'd be a hell of a show. And
I still get, because the Michigan talk comes up a lot about racing them at Michigan, but that's a fast racetrack, man. We just saw it firsthand. They won't
go back to Pocono.
They won't go. No, you absolutely can't. That's why they
won't go back to Pocono. I think they need to go back to Richmond, because the Iowa IndyCar races are pretty entertaining. I like the IndyCar races at Richmond. They were pretty fun.
Yeah. And I do think that Texas is a place now, with the way that racetrack is growing into itself, with that surface. It's kind of doing what it's finally starting to do. We can say with stock cars to where it's like, it's not multiple groove. Well, that's a big old 3,800 pound stock car, 3,600 pound, whatever it is. Indy cars are different. They're gonna get some grip. And I really, really, really wish that I know now with the month of May with the Indy road course, and you have that race before the 500, before all of that starts, it's logistical. It only makes sense that they're there and they run that. But can you imagine if they ran Texas 2 weeks ahead of Indianapolis? I think that, God, that'd be so cool.
Or vice versa, run Texas the week after.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Instead of running Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. But I guess we'll wish and
problem is nobody wants to watch Indy anymore, because Alex Palou keeps stinking up the show and winning every damn thing.
Did it again, man. I thought that when I saw that he lose 2 races, I'm like, oh shit, they got him now. Nope.
Like I watched a good chunk of the IndyCar race and then stopped to do. I was watching it because of the rain delay there in Pocono, and then boom, came back, and I was like, damn, he won again. Jeez.
I know. Yeah,
and still not a bona fide media superstar when it comes to IndyCar.
That's a thing. With the way that dude wins, you would imagine a guy on the NASCAR circuit doing that, or Formula One. Well, they have it, Max Verstappen, but somebody doing that in NASCAR, it would be, like Kyle Larson. It would be, crazy. So I'm curious to see with Palou, to continue that, or does he explore other things, or does he just keep doing what he's doing? He's really good at what he does, man, and he does stink up that series quite often, and that's not a bad problem to have when you're doing that.
Yeah, it's good for him. It's bad for the series.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's at a time where they need a lot of, like we're talking about, new eyeballs, and that's what I really liked about that Sunday night show that they had on the oval. That was a lot of people that may have just been flipping through channels.
Amazing TV numbers for that show.
Yeah, really, really.
And it's not a surprise that IndyCar is running primetime Sunday night. That's what they do with NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers are good there, so why not run the IndyCar stuff? So
yeah, absolutely. But I think those Indy cars on ovals on night races like that come on back to Texas. Got a great racetrack for you over in Fort Worth. Great program. Aaron Goodman, Boo Carlisle jumping in from the Star Superstock Tour. Great conversation. Everything's going to be podcast at revvedupsportshow.com. Every major podcast provider, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I mean, it's everywhere. All you have to do is search Revved Up Sports Show. Great conversation with Bobby Santos III, talking there about the big balls that are sprint cars with big tires and nothing but flat ass horsepower on high bank pavement tracks, Robert.
And something I've noticed too, by the way, if you like to visualize the show, you can catch all the archives on YouTube, because apparently Facebook has decided to delete our live videos after 30 days on the Facebook page. So if you want to go back and catch some of the older archives video-wise, you can catch us on our YouTube channel. What is it? Dirty Air Media? What do you have it called now?
It's there, Dirty Air Media. And, of course, on Racing America, it's there also. They've got everything all nice and contained right there. So, yeah, jump in and check that and share it and like them and help us with that YouTube page. That's one that we really need to get some grip on, I think. So, anyway, and of course,
definitely could have the traffic there. But, yeah, that's where you can find all the old archives. For all the video stuff. Now, your old archives with the NASCAR Hall of Famers and stuff that are new to the show, you can catch those on some of the podcast providers.
Yeah, that's all there. And working to get more of those folks. On. We'll get you some of those really detailed. I mean, those are the fireside chat conversations we used to have. Just sitting there talking for about 30 minutes to an hour sometimes with some of these guys and ladies, and just talking about some of the cool stuff that they've done. And we will have more of that coming up for you as we dig deeper into the season. Big weekend. So you're back on the road. You are working this weekend. So
Texana should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have our buddy KR coming in with the STEM series, him and James Cole on demand shirt night. Be a lot of fun working with those guys. I always have a great time working with them, and and then Monday off to an airplane to Sin City. So
yeah, there it is. Check us out on the socials. Be sure and give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share, and we will continue to do this for you guys each and every Tuesday night, 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. We are in Texas. Thank you all for being a part of this. And that's a cool thing about it. Now we got all four corners covered, people checking in and being a part of the program. He's Showtime Bobby Chaffee. He's in the southern part of Texas. I'm in the northern part of Texas, I guess, as it would be. And we'll do it again next Tuesday night. Thank you all for being a part of #Real Race Talk. Have a great week. Always be weather aware. Actually did an interview today, men. It is National Cancer Survivors Month. And one of the things that we were talking about this morning was go get yourself checked out. Make sure everything's okay. I can say that now because I've actually done that. Finally. So go do that. Take care of yourselves. Your family needs you. They need you really bad. So be sure and do that, guys. Don't be a dickhead. Go out there and get yourself checked out. All right, Bobby. Next Tuesday, we'll do it again, friends. Thank you for being a part of the program. #Real Race Talk, the Revved Up Sports Show.